In U.S. schools, there's an overrepresentation of students of color in special education and an underrepresentation of students of color in gifted education. There is an epidemic of office referrals of African American students for disciplinary consequences. There is an overwhelming number of African American and Latinx American students expelled and suspended, and an underrepresentation of students of color in school-wide clubs and organizations and other prestigious areas like the school's homecoming court or student government. Race affects the operation of schools, and for every single student, racial identity shapes what they experience in the classroom. What we know from good science is that students' racial and ethnic identities are strongly linked to their performance. So, in other words, if I feel strongly about my own racial and ethnic identity, I do better. The research doesn't suggest that if I hate people outside of my racial and ethnic identity that I do better. But if I feel strongly about my own, then my performance is enhanced. So white students see themselves reflected in the curriculum, seeing themselves embodied in teachers, and they see themselves in language that's used in discourse or the jokes that are told. For black students, Latinx students, for indigenous students, their absence from the curriculum, the absence of teachers from their own background can profoundly shape their school experience. Race matters. But when you start talking about race and emotionally charged issues related to race, people may get offended. But it's so necessary. If you look at nearly every single indicator in education to do a deep analysis and to advance the work, you have to account for race as a factor or a variable. To make a comparison, imagine an oncologist and not studying an aspect of cancer because it doesn't make the oncologist feel good. It makes the oncologist, let's say, uneasy. Forget that. This work is raced. And if you're going to do work that is emancipatory, if you're going to do work that is transformative, if you're going to do work that engages and that meets the needs of every young person with whom you work, then you've got to consider race. Some educators may believe that because their schools are mostly or majority white, that these issues don't apply to them. However, aspects of race are still critical in majority white environments. It's particularly important to make sure non-majority students are still getting their educational needs considered. What's more, in the U.S., all students, particularly white students or students with privilege, are going to come of age in an increasingly diverse country. It's crucial that they have the skills to understand a variety of experiences so that they can communicate with, work with, and support their future colleagues and not reproduce racial structural inequities. We have to be able to talk about race and other taboo topics like gender and religion and sexuality because we must be able to break through these taboo topics and speak explicitly about categories of identity and how they are impacting our children and our schools every day. If a system is not equipped to talk about identity and structural inequalities, it is at risk of reproducing them. On the other hand, when questions of demography and power become part of the conversation, they can become tools to talk about how well our systems are supporting the academic achievement of all students without accepting the failure or exclusion of any group. While some educators may worry that talking about race might get them labeled as racist, the truth is that our students need us to be able to talk about these real and pressing issues in their lives.